Welcome back to the Prosperous Life Podcast, everyone. Thank you so much for showing up. Today, it is my goal as well as my guest's goal to help you move your needle in confidence. My guest is very unique. She takes life as a different approach than the average individual. She really has two keys, passion and love. And as she goes through life with this passion and love, she genuinely wants to see everybody around her succeed. With that in mind, welcome to the show, Shi Bassett.
I'm super excited to be here.
We talked about this like months ago.
Months.
Now we're here.
And I'm so bad at texting, as you've noticed. I'm like, you text, I'm like, damn it. I know he's messaged me before and I haven't ignored, oh man. And I don't even ignore them. I like read them come through and I answer them in my head. And I do this with so many people. And then I go about my day so proud that I was like, yeah. And then I realized, why aren't you texting me back? And then I go in 2 days later and I'm like, oh man, I thought that only in my head. Oh, well, I guess.
If you ask my family, I'm the worst at that too, unfortunately.
I'm like, I saw it.
I feel like it's a common thing with entrepreneurs.
It's too much. Like it's like it gives me anxiety thinking about it. I'm like, I've done all this stuff all day. Like I really just need to calm my energy down.
It's like I have certain times in my day where I'll actually sit down and like text. But after I have that time up, I'm doing the other thing. And when I get to my night, when I just want to relax, I don't want to spend the time texting.
No, I went from having no notifications, having bubbles. It drove me nuts. And like I'd see my husband's email and I'm like, how do you have 11,000 emails that you haven't read? Like, does that not give you anxiety looking at that? My phone is filled with that now. I'm like, 45 text messages. Whoa. How did I do that? And I was like, that's a lot. I can't handle that right now.
Exactly. I get that. Anyways, so you have such an amazing story.
It's crazy. When I really think about it, like, I'm like, oh, wow. I'm only 35 and I feel like I have lived so much life and a crazy life. Like my husband tells my kids all the time, like, because he did grow up in Kearns and he hung out with the Asian gangs over there, he got introduced to some crazy lifestyles. And so like we try to use that as like an example because our kids are pretty sheltered.
Sure.
I've hidden a lot of the world from them so that they can stay kids as long as they can. Right now, that's so much harder. But so he'll like say these things to the kids like, hey, really, like there are crazy people out there. Like I've had this happen to me. Like, and they're like, you were 17 when this happened and you've got this kid just dancing around pointing a gun in your face that's loaded. Like, that's crazy. Again, like the kids in high school, like, what? How are you even involved in stuff like this? And our kids just look at us like we're crazy. I go, yeah, whatever.
That's from a movie. You got that mixed up.
And I'm like, I think back and I'm like, oh my gosh. Some of the stuff, like, I'll talk to you guys about it when you're older. But right now, like I tried to tell my youngest son something because he's about the same age. And I was like, yeah, he's got an 8th grade friend, like an 8th grader who's a friend, and he's in 6th grade. And I remembered when I had an 8th grade friend and I got in a lot of trouble with her. Like, not necessarily with my mom, but I got into a lot of soul trouble with myself. Like,
sure.
I saluted myself around for a good 2 years trying to figure out like this whole my dad dying when I was 6 thing, not understanding. And it's funny because like hindsight's 2020, so I don't know any of this until I'm now looking at it as an adult. Like, oh, poor little Shi. Like you were just like grabbing for straws and like all of this stuff that you didn't understand. And so my youngest son has got this friend, and I feel bad for him. His parents are divorced. His mom doesn't seem like she's much of a mom since she has him on the weekends, and she seems like she just really enjoys her life as it is. And I'm like, dude, this kid's a disaster. Like, I know that you're a leader and that you don't fall for stuff like that, but like you are who you surround yourself with, like solidly. Like, and so I'm like, dude, trying to explain to him, like, I remember when I had a friend in 8th grade, like you think nothing of it, but you got these older friends that are doing things. And man, I got into some trouble with her. I was like, some stuff that like doesn't sit right on my soul when I think back on it, but I can't tell him.
Sure.
Your mom was out doing very mischievous things with guys she didn't even know, like crazy things. Like, oh my gosh. And so I'm like, and that was today. I was like, well, maybe one day I'll share more of how our life is, because right now you don't need to You don't need to use that as fuel for, well, you did it, you know?
Well, me at that age, if my mom got me in trouble and I knew what she did, I'd be like, you did it.
Exactly. And it would be complete, total, just here are all my bullets to throw back at you.
And you can't say anything.
No,
either.
not at all. Because like,
that's the hard part. And I shouldn't say hard. Because I look at my past, and when I was through middle school, at the age of 12, 13 is when I first picked up a cigarette, weed, alcohol, you name it. So I went down a very bad path, and I would have never taken it away today. A lot of that is my fuel on why I coach people, because I transform my life on my own. Mm-hmm. But we still don't want the people we love to go through that hard time.
Yeah, but you learn so much, and that's where, with my oldest, he's so goddamn stubborn and hard-headed, and I just consistently want to throat punch him more than anything. And I'm just like, bro, I get that you're a raging hormonal child right now and you don't know what's going on. Like, I see you. I'm sorry. It sucks. It will level out eventually. But why do you have to be this way when it comes to learning things the hard way? Like,
sure.
I don't want you to, because that's what me and your dad did. But I think I'm going to be able to speak until I'm blue in the face, and he's just going to have to learn the hard way. And it's like, man, that's my kid. I don't want to see you fall on your face, but at the same time, I know you'll learn so much from falling on your face.
Do you know how many times I've had to tell my mom she's right?
Seriously? I remember the first time I was 16 and the guy I was dating was 18, and I had been friends with his sister for a while. And dude, these parents just let these kids stay out as long as they wanted. They got to smoke weed with their parents. Their parents gave no shits. They had no rules, nothing. And I came home one night because she was like, hey, curfew's at 12. You better be home. And I'm like, she didn't know I was smoking weed. And I'm like, okay, roll the windows down, sober up. Like, we got to get home. We're going to be late. Like, I would always made it home for curfew. And one night I came home and I was like, dude, I really appreciate that you have rules for me. I really, truly know that you love me because you have standards for me to live to. These kids, my friend and her brother, like, yeah, they have a fun life right now. But they genuinely,
cool parents.
Yeah, like they genuinely don't feel like their parents care about them. And I was like, dang, Mom, thanks. And then 19, Mom, you were so right. And I'm like, man, what is happening? And then now I'm like, I'm turning into my mom. This is crazy. And at a different level, if my mom would keep continuing on her growth, I love them. And
I agree.
I'm like, would you guys just grow with me, please? Like, you could be so, like, Dad's business can be in such a different place. Like, look at all these things I'm learning, but I'm just their kid. And they think I'm dumb still. And so I really, really don't want that to do that to my kids. And I've noticed some things that I'll do that. I'm like, Mom, did you know this? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't say, are you kidding me? But I give them that look like, that's not at all what it is. And I'm like, no, stop. Whether you know it or not, validate them. Yeah, because they will come to you one day with something that you don't know. And you need to be able to respect the fact that they do know these things because they're supposed to be better than you. Let them tell you. And if they're wrong, correct them and show them how to find the answer.
Or the other aspect is they'll stop coming.
Yeah, and I don't want that either.
Yeah. Because
me and your dad are the only people who really have your back. Even if you fuck up, we'll talk about it at home, but I will rag somebody for you, and then we'll figure it out.
Even if they're in the wrong.
Yep. Like, yes. I got you. And like, now that they're coming into this high school life, you're going to need me more than ever, even when you don't think you're going to, and you don't want me there. Like, what are you going to do? If you know that you're not supposed to be at a party, you accidentally drink because of peer pressure, you need to be able to call me. You need to be able to say, hey, Mom, I fucked up. We'll talk about it tomorrow, but I need you to come get me right now. Like, you need to be able to have that so that you're safe.
Yes, absolutely.
Nobody else cares about you like we do, unfortunately, until you have a wife. Even your friends, bro, they're not going to be there always.
No, not at all.
And that sucks to hear.
And sometimes they're the one giving the peer pressure. Mm-hmm. And this can go into masculinity or feminism, whatever. We don't even need to put a topic on that. But as I would say boy is my experience because I've never experienced the other side. Saying no is not cool.
No, it sucks.
But
you learn
saying
so much.
no actually is the true strength.
Mm-hmm.
Saying no really does make you cool. Because back in my day, looking at it now, by saying yes, it made me cool to my friends. But now I recognize how cool it is to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. So, no, I'm not going to do that. But that has come from lots of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Saying no in high school is a completely different story. So, you're right. They need their mom and dad.
Yeah. And they don't like that I tell them no so much. And I've I try to be like that lenient mom. And on my coaching call, I was like, Keith, why do I have to get to the point with these kids that it's like, hey, will you please do this? Hey, will you please do this? And it's, that you are supposed to do this. Like, I don't know why I'm asking you. And then it's like, hey, will you fucking go and do this right now? And they're like, oh yeah, okay. And I'm like, why do I have to get to that point? I try so hard. I even say it nicely. Like, if anything, I definitely watch my tone with my kids because I'm trying to get a different reaction. Sure. And I'm just like, oh. And it was great. It ended up being really good. And it's like, I just need to, instead of, and it's, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I feel like it could go good. But instead of being like, hey, these are the rules, this is what you guys need to follow, I'm changing that to, look, this is the standard that our family lives at. You are expected to be at this standard. And this is what that is. I will not tell you that this is what is expected of you because you now know. And then in turn, as adults, they are going to know how to have standards for themselves so that when they do come around these low vibrating people who aren't really going anywhere other than, party zone, then they can be like, oh no, like, that's not who I am. Who I am, this is my standard. And so I feel like that's going to work a little bit better than this whole rules thing because then it's not confining. It's look at who you are. They don't have a good future vision right now. And I get it because when you're that young, it's hard for you to see the bigger picture. So it's trying to keep that in this realm for them right now, but also so that hey, I'm helping your future self. Future Aiden will thank me one day that mom was this crazy person who made him do X, Y, and Z all the time, making your bed. Wake up, get out of bed, and make your bed.
That's the standard here.
It's what we do. And so I now know that I have to get back to being a little bit more strict so that these things that I'm changing in me now go into my kids so that they do become better than me and my husband. Because that's the ultimate goal.
Sure.
My kids can't outdo me, then what am I doing?
And the thing that came to mind was two things. One, you want to see them do better than you, 100%. Mm-hmm. Parents nowadays, I think that take that so literal. Hey, you need to get good grades. You need to be at school on time. You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do this. And in turn, it makes that kid unable to operate at his full capacity when he gets to an older age. Mm-hmm. When instead of, let's just say, in my opinion, I think around maybe at the age of 7, they're maybe not adults, obviously, but they can start to make more of their own decisions.
Oh, for sure.
They're capable of saying no, capable of saying yes, which means they're capable of making their lunch. And I know that sounds very extreme, but I don't need to tell you when to wake up, and I don't need to tell you when we're leaving for school. You come tell me when we're leaving for school. I can work from home. If you get tardy school or after hours, I forget what they attended school.
I haven't heard that in a while.
That's you. That sucks. Yeah. That's on you. Not my responsibility.
It's a good thing. That's actually the reason why my kid is in the school that he's in. He's in a charter high school, and they don't provide lunch. You want lunch, you pack a lunch. Their teachers are not called teachers. They're mentors. Your learning you're in control of it.
Good. I love that.
It's incredible.
What school is that called?
Paradigm High School.
Okay.
Literally just on 114th behind Harmon's.
Good.
Incredible. And it's 7th to 12th. They're all that way. And I pick up my son and then his two friends. And his two friends, like, they're now my kids. Like, I've known them long enough and they've really come around this year that I'm like, cool, this is going to be great. They're all so happy, thriving. They love school so much. My youngest, even though he can go to his school until 8th grade and he's got all of his friends, he's been there, like, that's his main school. He's like, I'm out. I want to go over there next year. I don't care that I have friends here. I will make new friends there. I want to be at that school. Because their curriculum is so awesome, just the way that they present it. Like, the principal called and he's like, hey, this is, I think they call him the senator. I don't even know, because it's cool. Like, weird. And I'm like, you have to pack your own lunch? Hell yeah. Like, responsibility. You make sure that, like, I don't care about grades. I want you to go to learn. You got to figure out how you learn, because that's going to help you to learn the stuff that you're really going to need. Like, he's going to be making production music. Like, he makes beats and stuff. And
I've seen it. What a talented kid.
So
that sounds like legit.
Okay, and so I don't know if I can. He's only 14, so I don't know if I can say this just yet. So we might have to just bleep it. But he's made 2 songs with Tate McRae and made a song with Charlie on a Friday. They're both, like, if you're like a teeny bopper right now, they're like pop stars. So Charlie sings, it's a song called Enough. It's huge, popular on TikTok last year. And so my son's been, like, doing all this different stuff and, like, advertising himself on Discord. Like, he has really just, like, taken this and, like,
awesome.
And he's watched us build all these different businesses. And even though we failed, we never stopped trying. So, like, he just keeps going. And he got to do this. And, like, Tate McRae just dropped. Well, she dropped the new song, but she hasn't dropped the full album. But he has a song on the album. He might have 2. And it's like, you're going places, bud.
What an amazing kid.
It's so cool.
Make
and so
mommy and daddy some money.
I'm like, I know. So that's funny that you say that, because he did. He came up to me and he's like, Mom, when I'm rich and famous, because we are so big, kids, you don't get to say if, it's when. It is fucking happening. Like, I don't give a shit if you don't have belief in yourself right now, even though I know you do, because, like, you hear your shit and, like, everybody's bopping to it. Like, he's so good. But it's like, I just want to instill that you are a badass and that you can do this. Figure out how to learn, because then you'll be able to learn the actual stuff that's really real. Like, I did tell him, I'm like, you do have to graduate, but that's for the simple fact of you have an accomplishment that you reached. It's not anything more than a goal that you get to make yourself proud for. I'm like, I'm not going to be over here like my mom was. And she's like, you have to get a 3.5 or higher. Bitch, what? Did you see my D in, like, math all last year? Like, how am I supposed to pull this out? I got A's and B's Riverton, like, flying colors. It wasn't even a thing. It was so easy. And so I'm like, I'm not going to expect that from you. I don't care if my insurance is more expensive. Dad's going to make hella money. Like, we got this. Figure this out. And so he comes to me and he's like, Mom, what do you want? When I get famous, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't want anything. Like, I get why you're coming to me. I get that you want to buy me a house, and I get that you want to buy me a car, but I don't want anything. And my husband heard it, and he goes, you know what, bud? I really love that you want to do that, and you want to take care of Mom and do all these awesome things for her. He's like, but that's my job. You go do you, and you go make your family a life. You don't need to worry about me and Mom. I got us. And I was like, oh, that's so true. Because my son doesn't need to take care of us. He needs to grow to be the man that's going to be able to take care and provide for his family. Because once he has his own family, we're obsolete. We're not, but, like, your main focus then is your family.
It's a parent's responsibility to take care of their kids, to get them on their feet. It is not the kid's responsibility to take care of the parents. And if they have the ability to someday, fine.
Yeah, cool. You can buy me purses or some.
That's the cherry on the top.
I was like, you can just send me on vacations, okay? That's all. That's it. Exactly. And fly me to your shows so that we can be in the VIP booth cheering like crazy. Because I got you. I will make signs, bro. I will be front row. He's like, Mom, please don't.
You know, when I make a lot of money, people ask me how I would like to support my family. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but I would never give money. I would hire people for what they're qualified to work, and I would pay them a good salary. That's how I would support my family.
I like that. Yeah. It's so hard. We've always talked about it. Like, they can live with us as long as they want. Like, we're not in any time for you to be out.
Sure.
You just have to be moving forward and being productive and working on something. The minute that stops, you can go do it on your own.
Or you pay rent.
Go figure it out.
Yeah.
Because we've been figuring it out since we were 19. So,
Sure.
Good luck. But I want to instill them with the stuff that it's taken me so long to learn, that I don't think that I would have ever found out if it wasn't for network marketing, which is crazy because I have such a hate for it. And it's not even hate. It's just disdain, I guess we could say, because they're so pushy. Most of the products don't really work. And it's just you're having people waste their money. And especially right now, holy crap, you can't even go to the freaking grocery store and not spend $200 on 7 things.
For real.
It's insane. And
so then they quadruple their prices.
Yes.
And then they make you believe that there's nothing else that's as good as mine.
Yeah.
Which is their marketing, and they do a really good damn job of doing it. But that doesn't mean it's right.
No, I don't feel good about that. That's why it's I was I got to figure out something that I can do. And so after I got into that whole heated argument over at Colonial with HR, in my face. She pinned me in the corner of my desk yelling at me because this woman, grown-ass woman, 45, 50, threw a fit like toddlers.
Oh my goodness.
All the time.
Gracious.
And I was I'm not putting up with this.
HR too?
HR, bro. And so I looked at her and I was get the fuck out of my face. And she just looked at me and I was look, I told you, get the fuck out of my face. Because where I come from, you're lucky I don't punch you. Because you're in my personal space now for nothing that I even did. Lost my job and then went on unemployment. And I was I don't want to work a job anymore. I fucking am so over it.
And when did you leave this job?
So I got fired in 2021.
Okay.
So I think it was
2 years ago.
August of
Amazing.
2021. Yeah.
Probably one of the biggest blessings for you.
And I knew, I was a little nervous at first, but I was no, this is good. And so this is horrible. But I was look, they're giving me unemployment because you guys fired me and I wasn't in the wrong. We could totally go to battle over this. The fact that you guys act so childish, because the VP told me that I was fucking stupid because she and the owner of the company also wanted to do the schedule along with me, the job that they hired me to do, but they couldn't let go of it. So they would move jobs around and schedule stuff. And then I wasn't aware. And so all these problems were coming up and I'm this isn't me. And you just had the nerve to call me fucking stupid and use those words. What is wrong with this place? You could have
taken them to court.
Yeah. So I was I'm going to use this time. I'm going to get unemployment. I got a steady income coming in. I know this isn't good, but I'm going to do something with this. And I was
Sure.
well, what the hell can I do? What skills do I have? And then I was well, my mom was always a psycho when it came to cleaning. I know how to clean because that woman, if you didn't clean the way that she wanted to in the crazy spick and span way, she would just go and do it again. And so I was I don't even know how I got my first client now that I think about it. I just had my friend was hey, these people are looking for a cleaner. Do you want it? I was yeah, sure. Never even met this lady. We only talked through text. I cleaned for her for a year before I ever met her.
Wow.
And I was that's so crazy that these people are no, I heard this from this person. You can go in my house. We're good. And I was what? This is crazy. And then I just started getting more clients. And then I was okay, maybe I should raise my prices because I was only $25 an hour. And
I'm thinking, come clean my house for that.
Dude, for real. And so it's and so it's just kind of grown from there. And it's funny. My husband will be I don't know what you're doing with your business because I don't advertise. And I'm look, I really would like to keep it referral based because then I don't run into all of these problems of all of these people who don't really know me, and I guess I don't know fully what the problems are, but when I get them, they're already invested in me. They're already like, dude, these people love Shi. They speak so highly of Shi. I need Shi. So I'm going to reach out to her because I trust these guys. So like trust is already being built before I'm even in there. And then I come in as the sweet, adorable self that I am, and I just close the deal.
So shy.
Yeah. And so it's like, if I can keep that, then I don't have to advertise. And then when I first started, I was like, oh, I'd love to be able to help like stay-at-home moms or moms that their kids are in school all day long, but they want to be there to pick them up. Their husband takes care of them, but they would like to make their own money. So why not like eventually bring on a team that like I can have I can help these people, just make some extra money. And that's where I went to the Lion's Den fly-in event, and it really came to the point where time is money. And my time is valuable. And instead of trading and chasing all these clients to just hurry and make all this money, somebody said something, raise your prices, because then you can still have the same amount of clients, you're making more, and even if you lose some, you're still making the same as when you were with all of those. And I was like, oh. So it wasn't until the second fly-in that I was like, you know what? I genuinely, in my life, throughout any of the businesses and like events we've ever gone to, we always gravitate and make friends with the people that are already successful. And it's funny because they don't look down on us. Like we are just like one of them. And it really shows me, I'm like, we're supposed to be in a different game. Like we're not supposed to be, in no offensive way, like in the lower crowd. Like we are supposed to do great things. We have things to offer to this world. Like we do deserve to be in a different bracket and have a life that we've always dreamed of. And so I was like, you know what? I love all my clients. There's a couple that I've kind of been like, I really don't want to work with you or people like you again. And I'm okay with that because we just don't work well together. And not everybody is for everybody.
Absolutely.
And so I was like, I know my value and my worth. Now I really do, this whole week. And so why not only work with people who see the value of having a home cleaner that puts that much detail into what she does, who also at the same time is trusted. And unfortunately, you pay for what you get. And at that lower price, people already just assume whatever they want to assume. But if it's like, oh, no, like she's not cheap, it's $100 an hour, people are going to be like, in that group that I want to reach into, they're not going to bat an eye at it. They're going to be like, oh, cool. It's not too much, but it's also not too cheap. So I don't feel like, you get what you pay for.
Absolutely.
And so I'm like, let's brand it towards a luxury cleaning company, because in that way I can stay in residential. I can get higher paying customers at the high price point that I want to work with. And I want to work with them because of their mindset. They understand that you get what you pay for. And they just see life differently.
A successful business owner will never judge you for starting a business.
Exactly.
The only people judging anything are the people that haven't done it.
I literally just said that same quote to my son the other day. I'm like, the only people that... No, it was my sister-in-law. I was like, dude, the only people that are going to make fun of you are the ones not doing shit.
Exactly.
Don't listen to them.
Absolutely. So I want to bring this back to confidence, because in just a kind of headline here, we talked about kids' confidence, inspiring our, not a parent, but
I didn't expect for it to go towards the kids either.
We talked about instilling confidence and goodness into our kids, which as a parent, I would assume instills confidence in us. You seeing your kid win is like, you're shouting that to the world.
Dude, it only because he's done it all on his own. And like, because of the schools we've chosen to put them in, their elementary school was a discovery school. So they did a lot of different activities to try to get kids to figure out what their skills are. What are you good at? What do you like? How do you like to learn? What is it that incredible? So when you do have kids, come talk to me about schools. And so he was in 6th grade, and it was just they have discoveries where every 4 weeks they'd go and do something new for a month. And he was at this tech place, and there was coding and music making, all this stuff. And that's how he even got introduced to it. Came home. He was like, hey, for Christmas, can I have a computer? I'd really like to work on this, but I need a bigger computer to be able to hold the program that I want. He went and did all the research himself, found all the things, and now, like, holy shit. And so I look at it and I'm like, because I've always kind of dealt with confidence issues, which I don't understand. I do, but like when I really think about it, it's like, Shi, you're cool. People like you. Random people that you barely meet, they tell you shit about them that most people don't share. Like, there's obviously something that you have to offer. So this whole year is really like, that's why I was like, okay, January, we did like planning at the end of the year for our year. I was like, I'm getting a coach. I'm going to invest in myself. Like, we're gonna really take this serious and like do this. And by doing all of that, I've watched my confidence grow, which obviously trickles down to my kids. And then when they do this stuff and he comes in and he's like, hey, did you hear that? And I'm like, that song that you're working on? And he's like, Mom, I'm not working on it. It's done. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I made another song with Tate. No big deal. It's done. Do you want to come listen to it? And I was like, you didn't even tell me that you guys were making another song together? Like, what? Like, why is this not a bigger deal to you? And so as I'm listening to him play the song and just like watching him, and I always record it because he's going to want to see this when he gets back. Like when he's older and he's like, oh man, look, that was first time I did that, And so I'm recording it and I'm also just like watching him and I'm like, man, I instilled and your dad has instilled, and by you watching us just continuously chase our dreams, whether or not they worked out or not, look at what you're doing. Look at who you are, and you don't even realize that this is osmosis onto you because you've just heard us talk this way for so long that it's natural. Yeah.
Which, with your confidence, instills confidence in your kid, which impacts your business.
And yeah.
Goes for full circle.
I mean, like my kid's friend, I was driving home, it was yesterday, and I was like, dude, he's like, he always asks me, how was your day? Did you clean any clients today? And I was like, yep, got done. Had to do that text. And he's like, Shi, you got this. Don't worry. The people who are supposed to be will stay. And I'm like, thanks, dude. You're a little smart 13-year-old, Thanks for hyping me up.
That's funny. So I want to talk about before this confidence has come. Were you always you mentioned you haven't always been confident. Mm-hmm. It's been something that you've questioned for your life. Did you just come out from your mom not feeling confident? Like when were you conscious of I am not confident?
Conscious? Probably not until probably like, I don't know if I actually knew that it was confidence. So probably not until I was like in my 20s. But it all definitely started like in the 7th, 8th grade where having that, like when you start going through all those hormones and stuff and realizing that I didn't have a dad and all my friends had dads and all these things that you miss out on, that all just kind of like spiraled into not worthy enough.
Sure.
Which then as I got older, I didn't realize it then that it was a confidence thing because you're young, you don't realize those play together. And so it wasn't until probably like 21, 22, probably, I take that back, 20 to 21. And then I had my son, had lost a lot of weight, then gained it back. And I was like, look, we're going to do this. Like, we're going to really like lose this and we're going to figure it out. I got really confident, did a lot of mindset change during that time. And then I got pregnant with my youngest and everything just resorted back to ground zero again. And so actually consciously like refiguring out how to build my confidence, probably consciously within the last 3 years.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is your confidence started to go down in middle school and it just stayed down. And in your early 20s, you were like, wow, I am not confident.
And I don't think I even would have known if it wasn't for my husband. My husband's always been so self-aware. He always used to say this thing to me where he's like, well, imagine yourself in the situation and then like you're a person up here watching the situation. And I'd look at him like, what in the fuck are you saying? I can't do that. Like, what are you talking about? Still to this day, I do understand what he's saying now. I still can't do it.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird because my girlfriend also said it to me and she's like, I do that all the time. And I was like, my brain doesn't compute it that way. I don't know why. It's weird, but I get the concept. And so if it wasn't for him being so introspective on himself, because his dad actually committed suicide when he was 17. And so that's how we kind of connected, was we had that bond. We both lost our dads, but his was at such a different stage in life that he was so conscious about, like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm 17, like, what the hell, you know? And so that first time around, it was just him being like, bro, you talk so bad about yourself and to yourself. Like, your language is it's bad. And so it's funny, I didn't even like notice it at that time. And so figured that out and then went through that degress and everything. And I had noticed it because he had always talked about this like red flag things. Just when a thought comes up, put a red flag on it and then let it go. And I was like, whatever, I don't know what you're talking about. That's stupid. Well, I got it. And then one day I was like, that wasn't really nice of me to say. I should probably red flag that. And then it was like, oh, okay, maybe there is something to this whole mindset thing and like figuring it out the way that it should, like to change it and not just mask it. And I obviously had been masking it for a really long time, like entirely just like fake it till you make it.
Absolutely. Can I share a technique that similar to that third perspective, but something that I use with my clients?
Yeah.
Envision the situation you're in, but put you as your kid. So
I heard that the other day. Maybe have you done a podcast on that?
I have no idea. I
but
probably have.
It's ingenious. And that literally just like this week. So I love that. Now Spirit's like, hey, we told you again. You wanna hear?
Like really, like envision your situation. Be like, well, would I be okay with this if my kid was where I'm at right now? Would I be okay with these emotions if my kid was experiencing this? Would I be happy? Puts it in a complete different perspective.
Oh, entirely. Entirely. When you look at things that way, then you're like, because like I've heard people be like, oh, you don't talk to yourself, like you wouldn't talk to your best friend like that. Well, which best friend are we talking about? Because like, you know, I am very, I like you if I tease you. If I bullshit around with you a lot, like, you know, you're good. If that doesn't happen, then like, no offense, but like, it's not going to work, you know? And you can't be that way with yourself though. Like you have to, you got to be soft. You got to treat yourself like you're a kid. And that's where I hate that, like, you know, your inner child and everything, but genuinely, you've got to treat yourself like you're just a little baby version. Because then, like, you would approach everything so much different. You would approach how you approach people differently. Because you would see them as that little kid.
Absolutely. And to add on to that, that doesn't mean lying to yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, let's just say I'm fat. That doesn't mean telling yourself you're skinny. It means you're brutally honest with yourself in a loving way. Mm-hmm. Hey, you're fat right now. Like, lose some weight.
Oh, totally.
The voice in our head is a beautiful thing. A lot of people call it our inner bitch or whatever you want to call it, right? We have different names for it. It's my best friend. It tells me where I'm falling short. And it's honest with me. People see that as in, let's just reference it to podcasting. When I first, you referenced the podcast clip last time, so we'll just use it. I would have not started the podcast if it wasn't for her. My voice was telling me I'm not enough to start the podcast. Who am I to start that podcast? But really, who was I to start the podcast? I was this 21, 22-year-old that transformed his own life, sure, but I've never spoken to the world, right?
Right.
The voice was right. I just needed to go actually do it, so the voice could never tell me that again. That inner voice can never tell me, who are you to start a podcast now? Because I've done it. You're number 76.
Dude, you're almost to 100. How exciting.
Say that again.
I said, you're almost to 100. How exciting.
Exactly. So it's that inner voice is a beautiful thing. Don't make that. When it said, who are you to start the podcast? It wasn't saying you can't start the podcast. It was saying, go get the credentials so you know you can.
I like that. I don't think I've ever heard anybody, because total Andy with your boss voice or your bitch voice, and it make it your best friend. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell my kids that. Maybe that'll help them.
So I'm really genuinely curious, because you are working on your confidence now, and you've really came out life with passion and love for yourself, for people around you. You want everybody to succeed. When were you at your lowest confidence? I want to hear this story. I want the audience to hear this story so that they recognize that this hasn't been a forever thing where you were at this all-time high.
Well, so that's hard to say. I'm going to say literally just back in May. And the reason I say that is because I had no idea if me and my husband were going to stay together. Like, we were fighting like crazy. Everything was just a shit show. And I had lost a bunch of weight, but I was just still kept plateauing. And I was like, why isn't this like it was the last time? Like, I lost all this weight and then it was super exciting, but now it's like, okay, well, this is whatever. And so it's more than just being confident with like the outside. It's like, I didn't like who I was on the inside. And that didn't never really hit until just this year. I don't know, dude, something about turning from 34 to 35 and like really knowing that like I'm not getting any younger, even though I don't feel any older than 20 most of the time, that like, we don't have time to waste. I don't have time to sit and not like who I am. Good gravy, I'm going to die with myself. And if I'm going to die with myself, I might as well be able to joke around and have fun and be like, damn, bitch, that was fun. I love you.
Sure.
We had a great time. When at that point, it was like, that's what it was. I'd called my husband, and I don't know what exactly was going on during the time in my life, but like we were at a place, everything was just out of place. And I was like, and I don't cry very often. And I called him in tears, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need help. I mean, like, I would never quote myself as ever being suicidal. But in the time from January to May, I had thought about not being there more times than not. And I got to a point where I was like, I can't do this. I heard like a BetterHelp ad or some shit. And I was like, I need help. However the fuck it is that I get it, I need help. And I found the freaking awesome person, Brittany in Mississippi. She is the best therapist I have ever had. And I love her. That woman is not afraid to tell me how it is. And I fucking love her. Like, to the point where like our sessions go over, because then we just start talking about each other and like our lives and stuff. And I'm like, bro, we can't be friends. I'm going to have to come out to Mississippi and come hang out with you. Like, what are we doing? But she fucking tells me how it is, bro. It's not, hey, I'm just going to be like, okay, yeah, cool. She's like, Shy, what the hell? Like, why did you fucking say that to me like that? If you're going to say it like that, then where is your mindset on that? And it was like, oh, what? And I was like, and so like with her, and then doing the coaching with Keith and Jesse and cleaning up my side of the street, it all really was me. It's never been about the weight. It's never been about what I look like. It's never been about, I don't have this or that. It's always been, I never trusted my own self to know that I could get myself and grow myself for myself. It was, I have to do it for my husband. I have to do it for the kids. I have to do this, that, and the other. No, I need to do this for me. Because if I don't change, where am I going to be in 20 years? With the same problems that I have now? That sounds awful.
With the same problems and amplified.
Yeah.
Change.
And I've dealt with those problems till now, and I'm not cool with this. I don't want to do this again for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years until I finally am like, oh shit, I get it now. And then it's too late.
Absolutely.
Like working on yourself, and it's the mindset. It's seeing yourself in a way that you genuinely love yourself. Whether or not you're broke and homeless or you've got $1 million in the bank account. You love yourself because you know that you're a good person and you make choices that's good for you.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
And I want to speak on that time aspect for just a moment. So I'm grateful. So I'm 24, just turned. I'm so grateful that I do love myself for where I'm at. But I also know what it was like to really hate myself deeply before. I break up life from 1 to 100. From 1 to 25, you're in quarter one. You can mess up as much as you'd like. You really can.
And that's what you need to. Because you're not an adult. You're just a baby adult trying to figure it out.
From 25 to 50, you're in quarter two. You still can mess up. You can still have knowledge. You can still mess up. Obviously, the earlier you figure it out, the better. But if you're not, even if you're at 70, you still got 30 more years if you've taken care of yourself.
Yeah. Which is so crazy to think about.
So like being 35 and where you're at right now is such an achievement.
And I have so much more time. Like, it's funny because for a long time, I would judge my chapter 7 to so-and-so's chapter 78 and be like,
so easy to do, though.
So easy. And now it's like, no, I'm at where I'm at. Like, as long as I keep growing and every day I do something that makes me a better person, my life will be better.
Absolutely.
Whether that's money, happiness, it doesn't always go back to money. I would just rather not. I'd rather be happy and have money than be broke and not, happy. I didn't say that the right way, but
you'd rather be broke and be happy than be miserable and have money.
Yes,
I feel that, but also I'd rather be happy and have
money.
Money.
Yeah, I know that money doesn't buy happiness, but I'd rather have that life.
Absolutely,
because it doesn't buy happiness because you can donate and that brings you happiness. You literally could just go. You know what I'm the most excited for when I make a lot of money? Being able to leave whatever fucking amount of tip I want to. You did a killer job, $500 fucking bucks, bro. Have a great day. Because I know that will probably change your life and that'll make me feel so good. I remember our first $200 tip we ever left. My husband wanted to stay and watch her open it because he was so excited that he could do it. He's like, I just made her whole night. I was like, yes, you did. And like, then I'm over here seeing Sean and these guys tipping $5,000 and I'm like, damn it. I need to make more money so I can tip people like that. And that's crazy.
And just to put in a little advertisement here, it makes people more happier when they can pay somebody to do the things they don't enjoy. For cleaning. I hate cleaning. I would love to pay you all the time to do that for me.
And I love it.
But yeah, people also get joy and they don't get lack of happiness by paying people what they don't like to do. I
shop at Harmon's because I know it's local and it's going back into our community. And I'm like, I just helped some small business.
Yeah.
I leave happy. And I had somebody say, I can't believe you shop there. They're so expensive. What do you mean? I'm getting my meat from a local farmer. I'm getting most of my products from local companies. Those are people who live in my community. Those are people who feed their children with that money that I just went and spent. Yes, I may have just spent $10 for something I could have bought for $3.50 now or $4. But I just fed Joe and Tracy and little Timmy and John.
And you can go get your lab meat from Walmart.
We won't even go down that. Yeah. That is solid.
My dad's sister hung out with the Harmon's kids when they were growing up. Like, for real, they are from Utah.
Yeah. And do you know how that whole thing started? They were just a bunch of farmers who got together and was like, hey, let's make this grocery store that we can sell all of our stuff at, and it's just one central place. That's how it started.
Isn't that sweet?
It's so cool. And like, even when we moved to Arizona, I always found Utah like businesses down there. I was like, well, oh, where's the space at Utah? And I'm like, of course it is. But that's because that shit brings me joy.
I agree.
I'd rather keep our stuff in our little states so that our state can continue to grow and our people can continue to grow and everybody's just living in this prosperous life, you know?
Exactly. I like that. Now, so confidence, and we're talking about so many good things. We could talk for hours. This is amazing.
We'll have to do another topic.
So you went into pure pivot of confidence, you would get out, you went into pivot of not feeling worthy. If you had to give somebody a book of, hey, you're here, you're not confident at all, you don't feel worthy, you don't feel like you do deserve that prosperous life, but you want that. You want to be happy. You want to know that you're worthy. You want to know that you're enough and that you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to. What are the steps to take in order to get there?
Keep your fucking word. If you say you're going to do something, even if you only tell yourself you're going to do it. Because that's what builds confidence. It's not, oh, you got to look in the mirror and tell yourself 20 times a day. No. If you say you're going to go to the gym, don't be a lazy sack of shit. Go to the gym. Because you're going to keep that promise to yourself, and that's going to build confidence. The more things that you say you're going to do and you do them, you're proving to yourself that you can do the things that you say you're going to do. And by doing that, that follows into everything. So whatever goal, whatever you're going to do, you're going to get there. And confidence isn't anything that, it's a muscle. And it's a muscle by just showing to yourself that you're not afraid and you can keep your word. That's really because I always thought it was all these different things, and really listening to Sean just be like, stop fucking lying to yourself. If you stop lying to yourself, you can see where you're at and then you can move forward. So if you're a lazy sack of shit, do something about it. Maybe eat this instead of eating this. Don't drink soda today and have water. Go to the gym. Go outside and walk. You do those things, then you turn that walking into, maybe we should wear a 45-pound like a ruck vest. And then you add that to your walk. And then you're like, oh shit, that was hard at first. Now this is super easy. Maybe I should go into the gym and lift some weights. Then you do that and you're like, oh man, that was rough. 6 months later, oh shit, I'm curling 35 pounds. Me, because guys curl way more, but I'm curling 35 pounds. Never done that now that I think about it, but just example. And then you're like, hey, I've been invited to this event. I don't know anybody here. I don't know what's going on. You go because you know that you can do scary things. You can do hard things. And next thing you know, you're talking to somebody who's changing your life. All because you showed yourself you can do the hard thing. You can wake up in the morning and take your vitamins. You can have a routine and show yourself that you can.
And like you said, start small with the promises you make.
Yeah.
And also I want to state this, a word is a word. So just because you're not like, man, I promised myself I'm going to do this. You don't need to say a promise in your sentence to make it like your word's your word is what I'm trying to say. If in the back of your head, you're walking to the fridge and you say, I'm going to grab a bottle of water instead of soda today. I don't care if you don't say, I promise myself.
No, you
said it. Your word is your word. Let's bring back that old school way.
It really is, though. And that's all Jordan Peterson had to say when I saw him talk. Don't lie and be a man of your fucking word. Those are two simple things and your life will be prosperous. Like, seriously. And it was just so crazy to hear somebody who's so intellectually smart and has so much experience in all these different things to be like, look, don't lie to yourself.
It really comes down to that one thing. And I can almost promise you, because everybody wants to be great. Mm-hmm. Everybody. Not one person in this world doesn't want to be great. The only reason that the people are great is because they've kept their word. And the only reason because the people that are poor or living in poverty are there because they don't keep their word. Mm-hmm. And that can be applicable. I believe life revolves around three things. Yourself. if you keep your word to yourself every single day, I'm going to work out, I'm going to eat healthy or whatever, yourself will get better. Your relationships. Now I'm talking sexual relationships to friends, family. If you're keeping your word to yourself, it probably means you're keeping your word to your family. And then 3, your business, your career, whatever you're trying to create in your life. Naturally, if you're good, your life's good, your relationships are good, you're probably going to be doing pretty good living your dream life.
Oh, for sure. Because you're going to do the shit you say you're going to do.
Exactly.
And it's such a simple thing. And it's so funny because, like, I didn't even think about this until you just were saying that. Like, Jordan said, if you want to make somebody worse after dealing with you, lie to them. And that hit hard. And I was like, I have never genuinely walked around this world and been like, I'm going to fuck somebody's day up today because I just want to. No, I genuinely want everybody to have a better impact from, like, interacting with me. And I'm making them worse by lying to them? That was crazy. So if I'm making somebody worse by lying to them, what's the impact I'm doing to myself by lying to myself?
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is very controversial. Not very controversial. It just, people have different perspectives on what's okay and not okay in a relationship, whether that's a relationship with wife, husband, or friends. Okay, so a friend says, I'm fat. Okay, sure, you're probably going to be like, yeah, you need to lose some weight, dude. But is it equivalent to lying by not telling them before they bring it up?
So if you would have asked me a year ago, my answer might have been different. But now, no. Because I do this with my son. He'll sit here and he bitches to me about how he's got all this. He's 14, so he still has, like, growing to do. He's like, oh, I got this double chin. I got a little bit of fat. And I'm like, so stop being a fat shit, bro, and eating a whole bag of Takis and getting a big ass thing of soda. You feel bad, but your actions are a lazy piece of shit right now. I know you're not. You have a work ethic that outbeats most adults I know. So that's not who you are. You are just allowing your bitch voice to tell you, oh, with these Takis, this whole bag of Takis sounds so good right now. And this 44 ounce of soda, I need to drink it right now. And then you get bored and you want to eat and all this stuff. No, stop it. I'm not going to sit here and let you tell me that you feel bad when you have the complete action to change it. Because if somebody sooner would have told me, because Sean is very forward. He is not nice about shit. And I had said something to him and he was like, are you fucking kidding me, Shy? Either do the fucking work or don't. And that's it. You either want it or you don't. And I was like, oh, wow, you're right. If I wanted it, I would have done it. So obviously I don't because I'm not doing it. And I would so much rather tell the truth to somebody and it might hurt their feelings, but they'll thank me in the long run.
I agree. So what if they're not asking though? What if your son's gaining some weight? He thinks it's just fine. It's all healthy. Is it right to tell somebody they need to lose weight?
Probably.
I agree.
Probably. If I really, yeah. Because you might not like it, but you're going to go to bed thinking about why I said that. And then you're going to wonder, am I happy with where I'm at? Like, yeah. Because it's going to get you to think either way.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it not hard.
No, but
you love somebody to death. You want them to have the full confidence. But you don't want to give them
and that's,
confidence in being fat.
You don't want to shatter them. But also at the same time, I see you not being your best self. So how much more unfair is it that I don't hold you to that standard of being your best self? And if then you don't want to raise to my standard, then you can't be in my life. It's not anything personal. I just don't allow people who don't raise to my standard. I told my son's kids, his friends, one of his friends littered out my car. And
littered?
Yeah.
Like left crap in your car?
No, like threw shit out the window.
Oh, that is
and
disrespectful.
And I try so hard to not go off on their friends. And I turned the radio down and I was like, look, in my car, we don't play that shit. You will be held to a standard. And this is how it is in my car. You don't do that. And like, I ripped this kid very nicely, a new one. And like, and I went to go feel bad after. So I was like, fuck, that's not my kid. But you're in my care and my responsibility. You will not act that way.
It's also your car.
And that kid has come around so fucking fast because he sees, oh, I have to be respectful. I have to be here or Shy's not going to put up with it.
Absolutely.
And I'm at that point now that like, look, I don't care if we've been friends for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. If you're not going to rise, I don't want you in my life because you take away from where I'm trying to go. I'd rather be alone and have no friends and keep moving forward and stay happy than to stick around this group that's, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out around.
I love you. I'm letting you go.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you the best of luck. I'm on my way.
Yeah. I will love you from over here.
And if you want to join me, you're welcome anytime.
For real. If you want to eat, I'm here. But you gotta come here or else you can eat by yourself.
Yep. 100%.
And it's not mean.
And if you're family and I need to see you, I only see you when I have to, not because I choose to.
Yep.
Because if it was my choice, I wouldn't see you.
And even then, do you really have to?
Just don't have a conversation with them.
Yeah, you don't. Like my both of my kids, they have somebody in our family that they genuinely do not like. I get it completely. I do like this person, but that's because I'm an adult now. And so all of this stuff I've been able to like pull apart and be like, okay, I get it. It's not appropriate. I understand though. But I don't make my kids ever go with me. If I'm going over there, it's my choice.
Yes, exactly.
You want to stay home? Cool. I'm not going to force you to go over there because you don't need to.
And they're at their, that's an important lesson for them to see though. I don't have to be friends with somebody unless I have to.
Yeah, unless you want to.
Yeah.
You not even have to. Like if you
want to. Yes.
You do not need you don't need to let anybody in your space. And a lot of people, they see that as rude. I did for a really long time. Like, oh no, how I can't, that's just so mean. I can't exclude everybody. Fuck everybody. If that causes you to be worse or you feel bad or you just don't like the situation, don't do it.
I agree.
Learn how to say no and yes to the right things. Jessie Lee, Bosley, she just passed away. She was on Ed Milet's podcast and she had said something about, I could take this and be super sad or I can just keep going and be the best me I can be. And it was like, that's crazy because she still continued coaching people, had stage 4 cancer. And she knew that by putting herself and doing what she was passionate and loved, that was going to keep her soul going. And it did. She didn't win the battle, but like, that's crazy. She could have just shut everything down and just like wallowed in self-pity. But she didn't. You said,
I have to die with me.
Yeah.
She died with herself, as far as I'm concerned, a victorious person. And she lived being a victorious person because she kept living, loving herself. Yeah,
staying true to her and saying, and her biggest takeaway was like, look, I really started saying yes to the things I really wanted to. And anything else that wasn't, I really want to do this, was a hard fucking no. And like she had told Ed, I'm going to shut everything down. I'm going to shut all my businesses down. And Ed's like, why? That's not you. And she's like, you're right. That's not me. Why would I start acting like not me, even though I got this awful diagnosis? Like, you're right. I'm just going to really spend my time doing the shit I really want to do. She's like, and I've been the most happy. I've been more successful by just saying yes to only what I want.
And say no to what I don't want.
Yeah.
Man, I could talk for you till forever. And I think that's just something to wrap up as far as confidence goes. If you want to be fully confident, keep your word. Mm-hmm. Say yes to the things that you want to. Say no to the things that you don't want to do.
Solid.
Everything is a choice. If you don't like your job right now,
fucking quit. There's so many other jobs out there to be unhappy. And that you don't have to be an entrepreneur. You can be an intrapreneur.
Yeah.
But there's especially where we live, there are so many jobs that you don't need to put up with shit. If you're not happy, and I know that it's because me and my husband have been that way a long time. He's like, I'm not happy. Fucking quit, bro. We're good. If you're not happy, go find a new job. There's no reason to live like that. Say yes to what you want and no to the shit that doesn't genuinely bring you joy, whether or not it hurts somebody's feelings.
And if you keep choosing the things that you don't like, recognize it's a choice and recognize that you are choosing to do it.
Don't be a victim over the shit you're choosing.
You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Literally, every day you get up, I'm choosing to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you're not happy. If you're choosing to go and not be happy, you're choosing that.
Yeah.
So recognize that, take responsibility, and move on.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point, you'll probably recognize that you're recognizing you're choosing that, and then you'll choose something else.
Yes, anyways. It really is. It's once you have awareness and you start to see that awareness in the actions that you're doing, that's when real growth happens.
Absolutely.
And that I noticed that. I was like, oh man, I do that. And then it was like, and then I started seeing it and I was like, okay, I can consciously now make the choice to not react this way. And now I get to do these hard things. And it's so exciting.
Absolutely. You really are amazing. Like
Thank you.
I genuinely, I know someday, you mentioned you struggle with confidence sometimes, but you're on the up and up. Yes. I have and that's why we're here, right? We're coaching the people that are trying to get to where you're at, where they want to start being confident. I know someday you're going to see yourself the way all these other people see you. Mm-hmm. You're going to be like, man, why was I not confident?
God, I knew I was such a fucking badass. I knew it. I should have just done it sooner. So that was one thing that Keith was like, no, you have a new middle name. Your name is Shi motherfucking Bassett. And I ran with that. I was like, fuck yeah, I am. I am a catch of the county. I am one bad motherfucker. You're right. And ever since then, man, nobody can catch me down. And I get to send this really hard text tomorrow morning. And you know what? Let it be. Because it is what it is. Because after doing that hard thing, I know I can do more hard things.
Absolutely. Okay, I have one more lesson on this. Because this is like a really good lesson. And I feel like everybody needs to know this in the entire world. Okay. Every person. So this is basic psychology. Your past creates current triggers, which creates your thoughts, which create your emotions, and you act or react upon your emotion, which create your result. A lot of people say affirmations and declarations don't work. It's because they're doing them wrong. They're saying, I am love. I love myself. I'm amazing. Man, I look so sexy today. They only create thoughts. But the moment that you say something and you take the time to feel it is the moment you're going to start to react differently based upon what you say to yourself. Mm-hmm. The most powerful affirmation is your name. I am Braiden Belnap. I am Shi. I am Megan with your last name.
Makes sense of why.
That is the most powerful affirmation you can tell yourself. And when you say it and you feel it, is the moment you'll start to show up as your best self.
Crazy.
100%.
And it really is, because I've heard that for such a long time. And I didn't understand it until I got the awareness of like, oh. And then you feel it. And when you said that, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. I felt that shit. And I was like, I don't like this. I don't like feeling like this.
Right.
And it was all on the things that I was telling myself, or I'm going to drink a Coke instead of my water today. Of course you're going to feel like shit, because you know you don't want that. But you did it anyways, and you gave in. And that makes, when you feel it, that's when you'll change.
Yes, 100%.
I love that.
So do you have any last words for the audience today? Or any last advice?
I guess my biggest advice is to stop holding your own self back. Live. Don't fucking care what anybody else says, because you will find the people that aren't going to care.
Absolutely.
You'll find the people that will be like, look, I got you. This is a little weird, but let's do it. I'm behind you. Keep doing that and stay true to yourself, because I promise you'll find the right people. And I don't mute myself down. I never have. And like, You don't, because people will really fall in love with you for you. You really are cool. Every fucking one of you are cool as shit out there. You have something to offer. What do you want to offer the world? Nobody can be you better than you.
Absolutely. Amen to that, 100%. Now, last question that I ask everybody is, what is your definition of a prosperous life?
My definition is I don't ever have to look in my bank account and wonder if I want to get something and if we have the money. And our ass is retired on like 500 acres with a cabin in the middle. I don't want a big house. I do want a nice fancy house that's got all these little tricks and stuff of all these cool things that I've seen. But I like only 4 bedrooms, nothing crazy. I just want like high-tech stuff. So when I know that I don't have to check my bank accounts ever, and we've got that property that we can retire on and have chickens, I'm good. If my kids want a big-ass mansion for their end of their life, cool. And whatever, mine is just a simple life. I want enough security and then nobody to bug me.
I love that.
I love people, but I also need my space.
I love my space too. I'll come to you when I need you.
Yeah.
Or when I want to hang out with you.
Exactly. Like, we've hung out for 3 days now, and I just need like a whole week to energetically recruit from all of this hanging out. It's too much.
I agree. Amazing. Well, with that in mind, everybody, thank you again so much for showing up today. You both. Oh, I'm looking at you both. That's why I said that. You all have an amazing rest of your day today. And if there's anything that I can do or Shi can do, please reach out. See you, everybody.
Bye, guys.